everybody. Old guy here. And I gotta say up front, I'm pretty proud of pretty much all the books that I own. These are the ones I'm about to show you are just ones I pulled at random from the shelves. They're nothing, super extraordinary or special. It's not like they're first editions tooled by King Louis XIV's master publisher or anything like that. They're just ones that have appealed to me over the years and that I've acquired through various means, hook or crook, including a book sale, book auction put on by Larry McMurtry back in 2012. So that's what they are, and I'm sure you have the same thing on your shelves, books that you like, that you've gotten over the years. And without babbling on, let's see what the first group is. This, of course, is from my favorite type of book to collect, an anthology, and it's a Brian Aldiss that deals with space opera, and it's got some interesting little stories in it. I think this thing was put to, what year was this? This is 1975, and he got a bunch of books from, or a bunch of stories from the golden age of science fiction, and put them into this, horribly covered book, but there's some really decent stories here, including the one that I just finished, which I had never heard of before, called, what was that? Tonight the Sky Will Fall by Daniel Galloway, who I also never heard of. Hey, that's the joy of picking up anthologies. You generally run across stories you don't know of. What else we got? Oh, another one. This is another anthology by Gardner Dozius, who, if any of you know anything about science fiction magazines and anthologies, this is like the king of those. And this one has to do with stories that were set at least 1 million years into the future. Very good stuff. There's a really good Nancy Kress in here. What is the name? Oh, Mirror Image. I highly recommend you read that story. All right, what else we got? Oh, this is a Splendor of Letters by Nicholas Basbanes. I'll say that. He is the Tom Clancy of book collecting, in that he writes what basically are these techno thrillers about what books are out there, what books are missing, something about the errata. So if you are a book collector, then this is the guy that you read to get a good idea of what collecting of books is all about. I've got his somewhere back in here. I have his very first book, which was called Patience and Fortitude, which also has a lot to do with book collecting. In fact, that's all it's about. And with that, what do I have here? Along that same theme, I've got this by Larry McMurtry, he was a big book agent, big book collector, as well as a novelist. And this is the book in which it is, somewhat famously quoted, anything can be anywhere. And he's right, because you can find books, even rare first editions, in just the oddest places. Alright, let's see what else we got here. This is a first edition Solzhenitsyn, the Gulag Archipelago. I do not know if it is a rare first edition. It is a first edition for the United States, and it is, look, it's 1973, 1974. Okay, and again, I do not know if this is one of the valuable first editions, but it is a book I'm proud to own. You really do need to read Solzhenitsyn if you want to find out what it's like living under a, socialist paradise. Here I have a John Christopher, who is not a horror writer, but writes, I guess, what you would call scary sci-fi. This is one of his apocalyptic end-of-the-world books, and that's pretty much what he specialized in. And this was one, and I used to read a lot of John Christopher. In fact, I have what I consider to be one of his scariest books. There's no cover sheet on it, so I'll just show it this way. Called The Possessors by John Christopher. And I read this one when I was, I guess about 12, 13 years old. This is a 1964 edition. And this scared the bejesus out of me. This is, everybody knows John Christopher from Day of the Triffids. Or is that John Wyndham? It's a little hard to remember which one is which. At any rate, they pretty much wrote along the same lines. So, the Day of the Triffids is considered, like a very scary science horror type of novel, but this one is just as scary, if not more so, and I highly recommend you pick it up if that's your thing. Jack Vance, 8 Phantasms and Magic, and this is this was a pretty beat up copy, as you can see. It was a library copy, but it's Jack Vance, and I've had a hard time finding Jack Vance novels as I've been going up and around. This is a first edition. Well, actually, it's a first printing of these stories, which are all just, it's more like an anthology than it is it's more like a story collection than it is a novel. And I've been seeing lately that Bookpilled has been pulling Jack Vance's right and left. Even, man, where are you finding these? Another example of an anthology that I picked up, I have no idea where, but apparently not for much, $1.50. And it is, let's see, it's called The Science Fiction Showcase. It's Mary Cornbluth, and there's some of the stories that are listed on it. Who have we got here? Damon Knight, Frederick Pohl, Ray Bradbury. Not bad. This is a book that I had when I was a kid, and I used to read it quite frequently. It's an African adventure story called The Golden Impala. I think I had it when I was about 8 or 10 years old, and this is the Young America Book Club version, and it is illustrated, very nice, and it's an excellent story about a golden child and who gets to see the golden impala in Africa, which makes him like the chosen one or something. This is 1958. Good little story if you know it. I used to read it over and over, and I can't really remember very much about it, so I guess I need to read it again, huh? This, don't let this frighten you, or this. These are 2 story collections in which a couple of my stories appear. Let's see, in this one, the 10 for 10, the story is a story called Every Mother's Son. This came out in 2007, and I had submitted to it. And in this one, which, looks pretty rough. It's called Ruthless, an extreme shock horror collection, and in it I have a story called The World Without Souls, which is pretty brutal, I gotta say. Or this is a copy of the very first book or anthology in which any of my published work ever appeared, and it was called Fletcher's Farm. And I launched my rather mediocre writing career with this book. And then I'm proud to have this. I used to read these We Were Theirs religiously as a kid. They were all in the library of my little elementary school in Lawton, Oklahoma, and every time a new one showed up, I took it and read it, and it's historical fiction, a series for kids to learn about various parts of history. And this was the one I saw this one in a bookstore, and I just had to grab it. But they had ones for the Pony Express, they had ones for the Civil War, they had ones for the Revolution. The We Were Theirs were everywhere. So, that's it for this group. At some time in the future, I'll grab some more random ones off the shelf and show you what I got. Old guy here. See you later. You think Daniel Green would like my shelf?